Number 62. The principal of Miss Anderson and her class's school, Mr. Siebers, wants to get information about Miss Anderson's latest test scores, listed in problem 61, the problem that we just did. He is interested in the class median, but he also wants to know what percentage of students scored lower than a C+, which is less than 77 points on the test. So it says, what is the median of the class test scores? Which graph lets you see the median most quickly? So if you haven't figured it out yet, pause the video, look back at your resource page, and then answer accordingly. If you've done so, that's great. So we've created our three graphs. We could use our stem and leaf plot to find our median, but that's doing work twice that we don't need to do. The histogram we cannot use because it doesn't give us exact values, so it would be impossible to know the exact median. The box plot is our obvious answer because it gives us our median, which is our middle number right here. So that would be number 77. So if we go over to, I'm struggling. Oh, that's the button I press. Okay. So if we go back to this problem here, what's the median? The median is, here we go. Getting the hang of it still. The median is 77, and the graph was the box plot. Okay. Now it says for B, what percentage of the students scored lower than a C+, which, as we just found out, is 77 points. Which graph lets you see this most easily? So, if I'm trying to look for a graph that lets me know how many people scored less than 77%, I'm going to look back at my graphs. After I fix that, there we go. Okay, so could I figure that out with the box plot? In theory, I could, because I know that we're trying to figure out how many people are less than 77% on their test. And with the box plot, the really cool thing is we know that this is 25% of the data. This is 25% of the data. So if we're trying to find here and over, you could just add up the two percentages together and figure it out that way. That's one way, or one approach. The next approach you could take for this would be to look at your stem and leaf plot. And to find percentage, you're going to do your numerator is how many numbers are less than 77. So let's count that up. So less than 77 would be all of these numbers here. So I'm going to count that up. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 numbers that are less than 77. And then I have to figure out, well, how many total numbers are there? Well, if there are 7 up here, how many numbers are down here? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 numbers down here, so my denominator is going to be the total number of points. The total number of scores. So I'm going to add my two groups together and get 14. A lot of you can just see, hey, 7 over 14 is equivalent to 50%. The other way you could do it would be to do 7 divided by 14. So 14 goes into 7 0 times. Put your decimal point, add a 0. How many times does 14 go into 70? It goes in 5 times. 5 times 14 is 70. Subtract 0. We don't have to bring down anything. And remember that 0.5 is equivalent to 50%. Okay, so that was problem number 62. What percentage of the students? This would be 50%. And then for you, it kind of depends what you want to say. It just so happened that the box plot worked out. So I would say that was probably the easiest. But if you didn't know that, then the stem and leaf plot would be the best graph to look at.